Oh no. Oh no, did I miss it? When I was 18 years old, I lived in Bangkok, Thailand. And while I was in Bangkok, Thailand, spending 6 months studying, I had the most important meeting of my life. His name was David Lassoff. He was the president of the Carlson Consulting Enterprise. He wore big blue suits and had a fancy tie, and I had an opportunity to meet with him. Now, when he had messaged me, he said, Amin, I know that you are in Thailand and I know that it's late for you, but would you be able to meet me at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time? I said yes. But when I finally looked, I discovered that that time in Thailand was at 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning. So I remember that day I set 3 alarms to make sure that I would wake up in time. I woke up, I took a shower, I put on my best and my most beautiful suit, and I went onto my computer, I logged on, and as I logged on, I saw a message. It was from David. It said, "Hey, Amin, I'm here for the meeting." There was another one. "Hey, Amin, I'm going to be here for 15 more minutes." "Hey, Amin, it looks like we must have missed each other. I'll see you later." What? Allahu Akbar. It turns out I converted the time wrong. And I thought to myself, oh no, this was supposed to be the most important meeting of my life. This was my chance to meet David Lassoff. This was my chance to get a job at the Carlson Consulting Enterprise. And I missed it. And that day, I felt this pit in my stomach like, oh man, if I ever have an important meeting again, an important meeting with someone who I care about, someone who I look forward to meeting, I will never miss it again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the reason why I am telling you that story is because today we have a very special guest. And last night when I was sleeping, I was thinking to myself, oh no, am I going to get the time right? Oh no, I'm in Central. Oh no, am we going to get it right? But alhamdulillah, we got it right. Now, before I introduce our author who's joining us today, allow me to introduce you to Around the World Storytime, made possible by Helping Hands for Relief and Development. My name is Amin Asr, and I am the author of Noor Kids. And during this program, every day during the month of Ramadan, we have the opportunity to meet some of the most amazing authors in the Muslim world. And today is no different. Join me in welcoming Sister Asma Hussein. Bum, ba-dum.
Assalamualaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How are you, Sister Asma?
I'm doing well, alhamdulillah. How are you, Brother Amin?
I'm doing much better now that you are here. Oh, man. So, Sister Asma, you are the creator of Ruqia's bookshelf. And
hmm
Ruqaya's bookshelf, I mean, you guys have published so many books. Can you tell us some of the books that you guys have written?
Yeah, so we have the book that I'm reading today, which is Who Will Help Me Make Iftar, and then another Ramadan book called Rami the Ramadan Cat. There's a pretty well-known book called Bismillah Soup. I don't know. Do you want to spend the whole time just me listing all the books that we have?
Kind of, yeah, I would. No, no. We'll go on your website later and we'll show everyone. But
Okay.
alhamdulillah, the first book that I read that you had written was Bismillah Soup. And I think that was probably one of the first children's books that you guys had written. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I love that book because it talks about this concept of barakah, of this idea of, even with a small, little food, they were able to feed so many people. And mashallah, like Sister Asma, in observing you and the work that you have done, I just feel like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts so much barakah in your work, and I pray that He continues to.
Alhamdulillah.
And I know that my daughter and myself, we love reading all of your books. And I'll tell this to the listeners, okay? So Sister Asma writes her own books. In addition to writing her own books, she also publishes for other authors. And we've had some of those authors on our show. But all of those authors share one thing in common. their books are magic. Like, they are amazing. They're all really, really, really good. And so, if you're ever looking for a good Muslim children's books, go to ruqayyasbookshelf.com and you'll be able to find it. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. But you are going to be reading a story today. Will you say what the name of it is again?
Yeah, so the story is called Who Will Help Me Make Iftar?
Okay. And
You
now,
can see it.
and you wrote this.
Yes, I wrote this book last year.
And what inspired you to write this book?
So I don't know if you've heard of this story called The Little Red Hen. I
No.
mean, so it's the story where where there's a little red hen who has these baby chicks, and she is on a mission to make bread for her chicks. So she has to do all these tasks. She has to like plant the seeds, harvest the wheat when it grows, grind it into flour, bake it. She has all these steps that she has to do, and along the way, she asks the different animals on the farm whether they're going to help her or not. And every single time, every animal that she asks says no. Like, no, not I, not I, not I. That's like the catchphrase of the book, not I. Right? And then at the end, what the hen does is when the bread finally bakes and the smell of it is like spreading throughout the whole farm, all the animals come running and they're like, "Oh, we want a piece of the bread." And then she says, "No, you didn't help me, so I'm not going to give you any." And that's the end of the story. And that's a very famous children's story. And I remember reading it as an adult, like reading it to my child and thinking, that's not very nice. That's not a very nice ending.
Yeah.
So this story is actually sort of based on that, but the ending is very different. So
well, we'll be
you know
excited.
what?
That's
Yeah,
a good
I won't spoil
cliffhanger.
it.
Good
Yeah.
cliffhanger. So we'll get into it. So with that, Sister Asma, why don't you grab the book and get ready? As you're getting ready to tell this story, I just want to remind all of our viewers that this program is being brought to us in part by Helping Hands Relief for Development. Helping Hands in Relief and Development. This organization is, mashallah, a wonderful organization that does all sorts of important work internationally, outside of the United States and Canada, and places like Yemen and Syria. And as we think about this Ramadan, our zakah, perhaps this is an organization for you to think about. All right, with that, I'm going to be giving it to Sister Asma. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum, boys and girls. So today's story is called Who Will Help Me Make Iftar, written by yours truly, and that's me. So let's get into this story. This story is set in Turkey. So a lot of the names that we're going to be saying in this story are a bit Turkish, but I think you guys can probably follow along. All right. I hope everyone can see. So every year on the first day of Ramadan, Mustafa Amja and his wife cooked a delicious meal for all their neighbors. But his wife, Aisha Teza, was not well this year. "Let's cancel the iftar," she said. "Our neighbors will understand." You guys can see them inside. "No, we must continue our tradition," Mustafa Amja replied. "I'll prepare the soup, the rice, the beef, the salad, and the ravani all on my own. I've watched you do it for 40 years. "But who'll help you?" she said. "You're an old man now. Your bones creak and your hands shake." "Don't worry," he replied with a laugh. "I will find help." Aren't they
Aww.
such a sweet little couple?
Yeah.
Mustafa Amja called out to his daughter, "Halima, will you help me buy the dates to break our fast?" "I can't," said Halima. "I'm far too tired from fasting." You guys can kind of see her. Oh, wait. You guys can see her.
Right there. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
sleeping.
lying on the couch. She's saying, "No, I'm too tired from fasting. I'm not going to help you." So you know what he does? So Mustafa Amja went to the market with a pocket full of jingling coins and bought the sweet dates himself. On his way home, Mustafa Amja ran into his friend Mahmoud. "Will you help me make the red lentil soup for our iftar?" he asked. "I can't," said Mahmoud. "The onions always make my eyes burn." Do you guys ever experience that? I do. Sometimes when I'm cooking, if I cut the onions, my eyes burn a bit. So that's his excuse. He says, "I can't because my eyes are going to burn."
My eyes burn
So,
too, but it only burns a little bit, right? And then
yeah, just a little bit. And you
yeah,
get used to it pretty quick, I think.
yeah.
So Mustafa Amja cut the onions and carrots himself. He washed the lentils and sprinkled the bubbling soup with paprika and dried mint. He looks like a pretty good cook here. And we can
Mm-hmm.
see in the background, his wife is making a phone call, and that's going to be important later on in the story. Mustafa Amja spotted his neighbor Bashir outside. Will you help me make the pilav rice and beef kavarma for our iftar? He asked. I can't, said Bashir. I will get my new shirt dirty. Isn't that funny? He doesn't want to get his new shirt dirty. That's his excuse. So Mustafa Amja seasoned and stirred the spicy beef with one hand and mixed the rice and crispy vermicelli with the other. He's starting to look a bit tired, right? Mustafa Amja found his granddaughter Zainab playing a video game. Will you help me cut the cucumbers and tomatoes for the salad? He asked. I can't, Zainab said. If I leave my game now, I'll lose all my points. You guys see her here playing her game. She has such a look of concentration on her face. So Mustafa Amja sliced and diced a mountain of tomatoes and cucumbers himself and topped them with feta cheese and a handful of black olives. You can see him cutting all the salad.
And he looks so tired now. Oh man.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm fasting as I read this and I'm just getting hungry
Yeah,
looking at
I'm
the
getting
salad.
hungry too. Gosh,
Yeah,
vermicelli. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds good.
it's delicious. The delicious smells of Mustafa Amja's cooking tickled his family's noses. It filled the air and made his neighbors' mouths water. And here, if you guys look closely, we can see his wife, and she's receiving something at the door. Remember, she was on the phone before?
Hmm.
So we just see her in the background. I wonder what she's doing. It was finally time to break the fast. And we can see that the masjid here has the adhan. So it's finally Maghrib time, and everyone's going to break their fast. Who will eat some dates with me? Mustafa Amja called out in the masjid. But I did not help you buy the dates, said Halima. How can I break my fast with them now? Let's see what Mustafa Amja is going to say. He says, God loves those who feed fasting Muslims. He passed the juicy dates around to all the fasting men and women. He's holding a box of dates right here, and he's passing them around to all the men and women. After prayer, Mustafa Amja motioned for everyone to come to his courtyard for the meal. But I didn't help you make the pilav rice or beef kavarma, said Bashir. How can I enjoy it now? You guys remember what Bashir's excuse was? He didn't want to get his new shirt dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Mahmoud said, and I didn't help you cut the onions for the lentil soup. How can I sit and slurp it now? Remember, he was afraid that the onions were going to hurt his eyes. And I didn't help you cut up the salad, said Zainab. So how can I happily munch on it now? They look kind of guilty because they didn't
Mm-hmm.
help, and they're seeing that he's so generous, right? Mustafa Amja laughed and said, God loves those who are generous, especially to their families, neighbors, and guests, and I always want God to love me.
Mm.
He ladled the fragrant soup into everyone's bowls and filled their plates with mounds of rice, beef, and salad. And here they're sitting and having their delicious iftar together.
Gosh, that looks really delicious. He did a very good
Oh.
job.
When all the guests had happily filled their bellies, Mustafa Amja stepped into the kitchen to prepare tea. He suddenly realized he had forgotten to make the ravani. And for those of you who don't know, ravani is like this sweet cake that people in Turkey make. It's delicious. Oh, but what will my guests have for dessert? He said, looking around. Oh my God, he was
Uh-oh.
so worried in this photo, in this illustration. But someone's going to come to the rescue. How about this? His wife, Aisha Teza, pointed to a large tray filled with moist ravani, syrupy baklava, and sticky squares of Turkish delight. Yum. Do you think that she knew that he wasn't going to be able to do everything, so she had to order it? I may be sick, she said, but I can still find ways to help my old husband. Isn't that
Oh.
sweet?
So sweet.
When Halima had finished the last crumbs of her sweet ravani, she stood up and asked, Who will help me wash the dishes? Mahmoud asked, Who will help me sweep the floors? Bashir asked, Who will help me take some food to the needy? Do you guys think they learned their lesson? The neighbors washed the dishes, The children swept the floors, and their friends made plates of food to share with the needy. So they all learned a lesson from what Mustafa Amjad did, and they decided this time they weren't going to let the opportunity of helping pass them by. When Mustafa Amjad heard the call to Isha prayer, he stood up. Before he could ask, all the voices around him said together, "Yes, we will all come to the masjid to pray with you." And you can see
Hmm.
them all gathering around him, and they're all going to go to the masjid to pray together.
Mashallah.
The end.
Oh man,
And
Sister
that's the end of
Asma,
the story.
that is a beautiful story. That is such a beautiful story. I loved it so much. And now
Oh, I'm so glad.
anytime my dad asks me, "Hey Amin, do you want to help me with this?" I'm gonna be like, "Yes, yes I will, Dad. Yes I will." Because gosh, I think about, in our house we have like this salt that needs to go. We have like, it's called a water softener, and so it's always like, "Oh, Amin, will you go do the salt?" And I'm like, yes, but then I sometimes put it off. And so, anyways, when you're reading that story, I was like, gosh, I really need to do a better job with that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we all need to help our family, especially even kids. Everyone has a place and a role to play in the kitchen sometimes, and our moms and dads need help
well,
for sure.
and one of the things I think about, right, is imagine a world, right? If there was two different worlds, if there was one world where everyone only cared about themselves, right? Where in that world everyone's like, well, I got a new white T-shirt, or I'm playing video games, or I don't like onions, right? And if everyone had that attitude, imagine what the world would be like. But in a different world, right, where everyone was like Mustafa in the story. And they're always thinking about, well, hold on, how can I help other people? How can I help other people? Oh, I see that person needs help. I need to help them. If we lived in this world, all of our problems on earth, many of them would be solved because we're
Hmm.
all there caring about each other. And so, alhamdulillah. And the other thing I like about that story is it kind of reminds me of, there's this story from the life of our holy prophet, peace and blessings be on him, where
Oh,
and like, yeah, of course there's many stories, but the one that I think about is a very common story, where once there was this old woman who would be really mean and really nasty to our holy prophet, peace and blessings be on him. And what did she do? She used to throw garbage at him, and she used to put on like thorny like rose bushes and things like that on his trail, and make life so difficult for him, right?
yeah.
And so he could have been like, well, I don't like you, because like that's what maybe I might do, okay? But one day that woman stopped coming. The garbage stopped. The thorns stopped. What did our prophet do? He actually knocked on her door. He said, "Oh woman, you used to be so mean to me. What happened to you?" And it turned out that
Mhm.
she was sick. And so our prophet came and prayed for her. And after that, what happened? She changed her heart. She changed her ways. And so similarly, as I think about the story of Mustafa from Turkey, he did this really amazing thing. And what happened? It changed people's hearts. It changed their way. Allahu Akbar. What a wonderful story. So, Sister Asma, how did you decide to pick Turkey of all places for the story to be for the setting?
That's an interesting. So
Are you
I,
Turkish?
I'm not Turkish, but I love Turkey, even though I've never been there. It's one of my goals in life is to visit Turkey.
One of my
Such
goals in
a
life is to eat an entire turkey. So kind of.
well, that's not exactly the
No,
same.
I'm
That's
kidding.
not exactly the same, but I'll accept it.
Okay. So,
But yeah, Turkey is just a country that's so full of beautiful history, beautiful Islamic history, architecture, amazing food. I know lots of Turkish people, and they're just wonderful people. And so I decided to set it in Turkey because I don't know, it's just an amazing place. And I hope, inshallah, one day that I'll be able to visit there.
inshallah. So now I'm gonna ask you another like semi-personal question. Were you watching Irtugal when you wrote this
Yes,
book?
I was. You know what? You know what? I
Yes.
didn't want to mention it. That's exact. I didn't want to mention it because I wanted to be a little bit more, Um,
Sister Asma, when I asked the question, why did you pick Turkey? She said, Turkey is full of, 1,400 years of history. I mean, there's so many beautiful places. I mean, the masajid there and, so much culture. What she was really saying was, I was watching Irtugal.
absolutely, yes.
And no, I'm kidding. It's
Yeah,
okay.
I was watching. You're right. I was watching that show, and it's an amazing show.
It is. It is.
And I think
Alhamdulillah.
it highlights the beauty of Turkey really, really well, and just the amazingness of Turkish people. The
And by the
awesomeness.
way, for the kids that are watching, Irtugal is a show on Netflix, and it's one that perhaps your moms and dads might watch, and perhaps it's a show that you can watch too. I think it's actually a pretty good show. Of course, you have to ask your mom and dad first, but it's a pretty good show. Me and my wife really enjoy watching it. My daughter, who's only 2, she does not watch it because she doesn't
Yeah.
watch much TV at all. Now, Sister Asma, speaking of daughters, what's funny to me is that your name is Asma, but your organization is called Ruqaya's Bookshelf. Why is it called Ruqaya's Bookshelf?
A lot of people actually get confused and they think that my name's Ruqaya, so they'll email me or they'll message me and be like, "Hey, Ruqaya," and sometimes I won't even correct them. But so my daughter's name is Ruqaya, and I named the publishing company after her because, ever since she was like not even a year. So I started reading to her when she was probably like 6 months old, some board books and stuff. And she loved books. And up until now, she loves, loves, loves books so much. I mean, when she was a baby, she wouldn't really read it. She would more like chew on the books. But that's still, that's still something. But yeah, like she loves books so much. So I decided to name it after her.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And I've had the opportunity to meet little Ruqayya, and she's a wonderful little girl. Is she around? Can she say salams, or is she might be sleeping or something?
She has been kicked out of my room because she likes to make a lot of noise.
Okay. Fair enough, fair enough. All right, we won't bring her in. So,
She's busy,
but
yeah.
let me ask you just one more thing, two more things. Sister Asma, you like mashallah, and I truly do mean it. We are voracious readers in our home, and we have mashallah a very large library of Muslim
Yeah.
children's work. And the work that your team does, and I just want to make sure that everyone can. So the website, I'm just gonna go to the website real quick. It's
Oh, cool.
RUQAYAS book Ruqayya's
Bookshelf, yeah.
bookshelf.com. And so you can find all the work here. And now there's books for kids, right? There's also books for adults. So one of them is a temporary gift, which mashallah has gotten rave reviews, and one that I encourage everyone. Oh, and look, this is a photo of Ruqayya, right?
Yeah, there she is, yeah.
Oh, wow, wonderful. And of course, you have an amazing Instagram following. And you have another book coming out very soon as well for adults, right?
Yes, it should actually be on the website. I think by the time this recording gets out, it should actually be there
What?
on the
This isn't a
website.
recording. What are you talking about? Hey, so anyways, it's on the website. But anyway, so the website is ruqayyasbookshelf.com. Please take a look at the work. And mashallah, like literally, in my experience, even so this one right here, Basira, and the basketballers say inshallah. That is one of my daughter's favorite books, and it's one
Oh,
of my favorite books too. I really love it. We had we did Zayd and the Giant Cloud. That's also going to be one of them that will be coming on the sessions here. So now, Sister Asma, I could talk to you for ages and ask you questions about being an author at ages. I'll ask you one last question before we get into our game. What is your creative process? Like, do ideas just come into your mind? Or, like, when you're sitting down to write a book, what do you do with?
that's actually a really hard question because,
That's why I wanted to ask you, because I
yeah,
struggle with it. I'm like, how does Asma do it
it,
so I can
it
become a
is a
better writer
struggle.
too?
Yeah, it's a struggle because I think everybody's creative process is so different. But like I will have a Word document open, and if I just think of a passing idea, I'll write it down. And I might not ever pursue that idea, or I might pursue it after 2 or 3 years even. Just whenever an idea pops into my head, I write it down, without having to necessarily sit there and write the whole story. But I want to make sure that I'm recording all the ideas that I have because some of them are really good. And if we kind of just like let them pass by, then we're going to forget them. But yeah, sometimes also I write stories based on a hadith. for example, like a hadith that I really like, or a concept I really like, and I think, hey, this is such a good concept to teach kids. So I'll think, okay, well, how can I make a story around this concept to teach it, but still have it be like a cool, interesting story? So there's a lot of different ways actually that my creative process works. Sometimes it feels a bit chaotic. So different things work at different times. And I think that's okay, right? Whatever works for you at whatever stage in your life is great. And you should definitely lean into it.
Alhamdulillah. Well, thank you for sharing that, and I think that was really great. Now it's time for our little challenge. All right, so Sister Asma, I challenge you. Do you accept it?
Yes, I do.
Oh man,
We'll see
Sister
what
Asma,
happens.
you trust me so much. I didn't even tell you what the challenge was, but Alhamdulillah, that's good. So because your story was on the concept of iftar and food, we are going to be having a brainstorming challenge. Now, I have asked you to get a piece of paper and a pen. Do you have that? All right.
Yes,
So the
I
way
do.
this works is quite simple. I am going to put a stopwatch for 1 minute. That is 60 seconds. And in those 60 seconds, your job and my job is to come up with as many food items as we can possibly think of. Now, I know you're thinking to yourself, well, Amin, that's not very fair. You have been thinking about this all day. You probably have so many food items that you have been brainstorming on. So, in order to make it an even playing field, Sister Asma, you get to pick the letter that these food items must start with. So you say the letter. Once you say the letter, I'm going to press the start button, and then we're going to have 1 minute to go. All right? So, Sister Asma, what is the letter?
Oh, this is really hard.
Any letter.
Okay.
There's 26 letters.
Yeah.
This is the easy part. This is the easy part.
Let's go with A.
A. All right. A
Yeah.
for Asma and A for
A for it.
Amin.
Exactly. A.
All right. So I'm starting it right now.
Okay.
Do, 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 do. All right. I can't do it at the same time. Okay.
Oh my gosh, this is hard.
This is really hard. I'm cheating a little bit. You'll see how. Oh man. This is so bad what I'm doing.
That does not sound very promising, right?
All right. Hands
God.
down. Hands down. I'm not proud of what I've come up with. All right, so how many did you get?
I got 9.
Oh, I got 9 too.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
almost.
but I'm interested in seeing how you worked around the system,
This is so
because I
bad.
think I might have done the same thing.
Oh man, so Asma, okay, I can go first. I think it will be better if you go first, though. Okay,
Are you sure?
100%, 100%, 100%. But I got 9 as well. Let's see what the judges say with respect to whether all of them count or not. Okay, so Sister
right.
Asma, why don't you start?
Sure. Okay. So I got apple.
I got
obviously,
apple as well. Yeah.
and then I got apple pie,
Oh,
and then I
nice.
got apple turnover, and then I got apple cake, and then I got apple muffins, and then I got apple cookies, and then I got avocado. Then I got avocado salad, and I got avocado pudding.
So you and I took a very similar approach. Very similar approach. Okay, so I got apple, then I did apple fritter, then I
Fritter,
did
that's the one I missed.
then I did apple cake. All right.
Okay.
Then I did apricot. Then I did apricot jelly. Then I did apricot ice cream. Then after I said ice cream, I thought, you know what? Apple ice cream. I mean, you could do it. All right.
Yeah, you could.
Now these last two are the most interesting. I did antelope. I'm pretty
I mean,
sure.
it's halal, I guess, right?
Yeah, and you could eat
Yeah.
it. You could totally eat it, like just like go to whatever. And then I did antelope rice. So look, I mean, it is what it is, 9. And so, Sister Asma, it appears that you and I have tied on this one. So we'll, inshallah, have to meet again, and that's when we will have the final showdown.
Yes,
but
and next time it'll be the letter B.
The letter B, inshallah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to, on behalf of myself, Amin Azhar, author of Noor Kids, and on behalf of Helping Hands for Relief and Development, express my sincere gratitude for Sister Asma Hussein from Ruqia's Bookshelf for joining us today. Can we all give her a round of applause? Round of applause. Yes. You can't hear it, but there's people all around who are giving you a round of applause. Sister Asma, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, inshallah, join us again, same time, same place tomorrow for Around the World Storytime, in which we are meeting some of the most amazing Muslim authors from around the world, hearing their stories and playing some games. Inshallah, we'll see you again soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.